Hello everybody, welcome to Laney's Beads and Bliss. I'm Laney, and you guys, today we are going to go into Laney's stash, and we are going to make us several projects today. None of them are going to go together. They're going to be totally and completely random based on some beads that I picked out of my stash. So what we're going to start with today is we're going to make us a necklace, and it is going to look like this. Okay, so this is a pearl and pink crystal choker necklace. Now you will notice that I already have it done up, right? So I am using the rods that came with the set that Louisa from Misty Moon Designs sent me. I'm using it a little bit differently than it was intended, but it does the trick. So I have beaded this all out to get my pattern, and guys, basically I'm using some pearls. These are 6mm pearls, and these are 6mm crystal rondelle beads, and then I have some small 4mm pearls that I'm going to have at the end. Now, this is going to be a lot of work. I'm telling you guys that right now. And it's going to be a little bit fiddly because we have to do basically 3 things at once. But it's going to be fun. So give me just one moment. I'm going to get all of my supplies together so we can do this, and I'll be right back. All right, you guys. So these are all of the things that I'm going to be using today. So as I said, I did the pearls and the crystals, and in between here are these little spacers. They look like this. I believe I got these from Amazon years ago, but it's part of Laney's stash. Okay, so I'm using them, and I wanted to use them to make this choker because it's nice separation in between our beads, and it's got a little pretty, rhinestone-y looking thing on here. Right there we go. So that's what that looks like. So why I was saying that this is going to be fiddly is because we are going to use this for our end piece. This is a 3-hole connector. I am going to be using wire guardians here, and we're going to be using our magical crimper to crimp these ends. So we have to do this. We have to get all of our wire on here because as we're putting our beads on, all the wires have to be present so that we can use this piece right here. Okay, we're also going to make a pair of earrings to go with this. So to get started, I just took my piece of wire, put my wire guardian through, and then I made my little bead out of my my magical crimper, y'all. Magical crimper. Okay, so let me just bring you down a little bit so you guys can see this. All right, so I made my magical crimper. Focus. Okay, so there's my little bead. I've got one of the teeny tiny 4mm bead caps on here to go at the end of my pearl so that it's covered. A little accoutrement right there. Okay, so we need to do that 3 times. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've got my wire guardian here. I'm going to, let me bring you back up so you can see everything. I'm going to put my wire through, and we're going to run it through our guardian as per usual. And guys, I am using this time for my wire, I am using this Flex that just came in one of the unboxings that I did. I believe this was the Jill Wiseman unboxing. She had this wire in there, and it is a Flex Soft Flex in fine. This is a 7-strand, right? And I don't mind it being 7-strand for this because this is a little bit more stiff. Okay, and we want our choker to stand up. Okay, so that's why we're using this, and it's fine. Now, as I said, I'm going to put my wire guardian on. We're going to go ahead and bring our wire around to this other side. And guys, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be fiddly. Fiddly, fiddly. Okay? So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that one on. We're going to put it in the middle. We are going to run our wire guardian through. And guys, I used quite a bit more wire than I need just to make sure that I have enough. So if we look at our necklace size, I've got probably 2 inches more than I need so that we have room for crimping our magical crimper and all the things. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna smash this down and just use our fingers like so. Just get those together as close as we can. Okay, and then we have our crimp tubes. So we will put on our crimp tube here. And we need to run both of our wires through there. But we want to make sure that they're not crossed. Okay, go in there, you. Alright. So this is what we're looking like so far. We want to get that as close as we can, but leave ourselves enough room. And see, this is where it's going to get fiddly on the other side, y'all, because there is not going to be as much room to do what we need to do. But that's part of jewelry making. Sometimes we got to fiddle with things, right? Right. Alright, so I've got one of my magical crimp tubes. And what I'm going to do also is I'm going to take a little piece of wire and I'm going to stick down in here. Because the magical crimper is best with a 0.018 or a 0.019 wire. This is not that thick. So in order to have it be thick enough, we're going to just use another little piece of wire to stick in there so that it will have something to chomp down on, for lack of a better word. So where are my cutters? Here they are. Cutters. So I'm just going to cut a little piece. And we'll probably do that again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it down in there. Again, so that we have something to chomp down on. I'm just going to stick it in there. Like so. Just to give it a little extra circumference. And see, this is fiddly already, y'all. Fiddly already. Okay. So we want to make sure that our wires are not crossed first and foremost. Okay, so our wires in there straight, see? Okay. Then we can stick our little wire in there. And I'm going to get my magical crimper. Excuse me, guys. And we're going to put it right in the middle. And we are going, ooh, wait. Ooh, look at it doing its own thing right there. Okay. Okay, okay. Like I said, it's a little fiddly. There we go. Alright, now we can crimp it. We're going to put it right in the middle. And smash. We have our little ravioli. We're going to turn it 90 degrees. And smash. And then we can go around until we don't feel any resistance. And we will have our little bead. And she's tight. So the piece that I put in there, I'm going to cut it off. Let's see, where is it? I believe it's this one. So you see we got a little piece that's sticking up here. We'll go ahead and cut that off. Close as we can. And then we'll go down here and cut the other piece off because that's just our stabilizer one. Okay, so now when we put our bead on there, we can cover it up with those beads that are on the end, and it'll give us a little bit more stability. Okay, so we got that one ready, and we need to do one more. Same way. Fiddly stuff. Alright, we want to go ahead and put our wire guardian on our wire. We run up through one end. And back down the other side. And we'll pull it up like so. So we can go ahead and attach our third piece. And you guys may never want to make this, but if you do, you're going to see how to do it. Okay. Crimp tube. Get that in there. And it did not go on both. Okay, so nothing is twisted. Where did our little piece of wire go? I'll get one more. Teeny tiny piece, just a little piece. And we will stick it in there. Like so. Okay. And we put it in our magical crimper on a crimp. We have our ravioli, and then we're going to turn it the opposite direction, and we're going to do it again, and we will just go around until our bead is formed and we do not feel resistance. There we go. All right. So now we have all of our beads on there. Uh-oh. All right, so let's get rid of our lead wire. I'll cut it down here first, this time, close as we can. And then we'll go up here and grab this other piece. There we go. All right, so now we've got all of our wires attached to where we need it. So now, you guys, we can start stringing our beads. And this pearl has got kind of a small hole, but it will go over. Whoops. So I got my little bead cap there. And my pearl. Okay. So, let me move this stuff out of the way, because we won't need that until we get to the other side. We need these. Okay, and there's our other piece. Okay, so here we go. Let's string this up. So we will take off our little end pieces here so we can have access to our beads. All right. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here on the end. And guys, you will have to measure what you need for the length of your choker, because your neck probably is not the same size as mine. Alright, so let's get our little bead cap on there. And we'll get us a pearl. Run it down over both. And some of these little pearls sometimes have stuff around the hole, but we do have our little reamer so we can get that stuff out of the way. And we won't have to do this on all of them, just the ones that I'm trying to get over this second piece of wire. Okay, so let's put that on here. That's why I said this thing is fiddly, y'all. You gotta keep track of 3 wires. Imagine that. And it's still trying to not go. So I'll just cut that piece off, because we have our main wire here we're going to use. All right, so there we go. Actually, let's go ahead and cut it all the way, because that's making our piece stick out a little bit. Because that little teeny tiny piece did not want to go where it's supposed to. Alright, so fiddly, 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 fiddly. Can anybody say fiddly? Fiddly but fun. Okay, so go ahead and put on our other piece. Let's see if we can get this on both. Let's put our little bead cap on there. And really this is only going to be fiddly at the beginning and at the end, because once we get everything started to line out, it'll become stationary, so we can do what we need to do. Let's see if this will fit. Let me just go ahead before I even see if I can get that open a little bit. All right. So we're going to do part of this together, and then I'm going to go off camera and string out the rest, and when we come back I'll show you how we finish it up. And then we're also going to make a pair of earrings to go with this. Yes, because why wouldn't we? You want to have us a set. Alright, that's not going to go either. Let me go ahead and cut that down. Alright, so let's see if I have to redo this, because this looks a little bit farther and we want our beads to be exactly where they need to be. turn the right direction. Okay. So this is a little bit off. I'm gonna have to re-crimp this one because I need it to be crimped exactly like these others. Actually, it might be okay. I can fix it on the other end. Let's just go with it. And this is going to be sitting at the back of the neck. Okay. All right. So, as I said, we're starting to get out of fiddle land, but let's go ahead and run our beads for each strand for these initial pearls. And I think I said there were 2, 3, 6. Okay. So 1, 2. Whoops, come back here now. We can't be losing any beads, y'all. Alright. So there's our first little section. And we'll do our next one. Okay. So we've got that. And we can go ahead and do our last one. I'm gonna go ahead and snip this so we're not having to fight with that. Okay. All right, let's get our last set. Okay, so now we've got all of our pearls, and this is what we've got. This is how we're starting. So we got our 6, okay, and we got our clasp. This is going to be where our clasp attaches. So now we need to add our bar, one of these. So we need to make sure that we're putting them in the right spot so that it doesn't turn backwards. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And we'll pull that right up. Like so. Uh-oh. Look what Laney did. Look what Laney did. Nope. She grabbed the wrong wires. That's why I say it, guys. It's a little bit fiddly because we have to do it all together. And we have to make sure that everything goes in the right hole, or we're going to have the problem that I just showed you. Alright. So here's wire 1, wire 2, and wire 3. Alright, so we want our rhinestones to be showing. So that's going to go in hole number 1. Okay. Number 2. And number 3. All right, so we should be good to go now. All right, make sure everything's all nice and straight and laying properly. Okay, there we go. That's our first little section. So now all we're going to do is we're going to alternate a pearl, a crystal, a pearl, a crystal, and a pearl. And then we're going to do our next bar. So we'll just take these off and we'll put our pearls on. Pearl, crystal, pearl, crystal, and a pearl. We're going to do this for each section. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We'll do our middle, pearl, crystal, and these pearls have pretty big holes, so they're not as fiddly. Alright, should have 5. There we go. And we're going to do one more time. Pearl, crystal, pearl, crystal, and pearl. Oh. And it went flying, y'all. Alright. I bet you're wondering how I got that, huh? Well, I've got somebody here with me right now, watching me do this with you guys. Alright. So, that's what we've got so far. And then we're going to put our next bar, and we're going to go all the way down through until we have strung all of this. So we'll go ahead and put this one here, and then I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to string the rest of this, and I'll come back and show you how we are putting it together. So I've got, actually let me use a different one because that one looks a little suspect. It had one of my little things sticking up off the end. See that? Where it was coming out. Okay. Okay. So here is our first one. Our second hole. And this gets a little easier as you go through because you're not going to have as much wire and stuff sticking out places. Okay. So this is what we've got, you guys. This is going to be so pretty. Alright, so I'm going to string this, and then we'll come back and see how we're going to finish it up, and then we will make our earrings. Alright, you guys, be right back. Alright, everybody, we've got her all strung up now. So this is what she looks like. Okay, so I ended up, I measured my neck, and my neck is about 12 inches around, I believe. Let me see, just so we're sure. So yes, my neck is about 12 inches around But once we put our clasps on and our jump rings on for our clasp, then it should be perfect, right at length. Okay, so now here comes the fun part, you guys. We have to fix our other end up like we did this end. So I want to make sure that I got everything going straight. All right, and that all my beads are pushed down. So now we can go ahead and put on our other piece of our clasp here. So first things first, we are going to put on our crimp tube. Then we're going to run this wire through our wire guardian. And that's why I had a little extra wire, because we need to make sure that we have enough down here when we're getting ready to put this on. So I want my clasp to go like this, because this is going to be the piece that's showing. This is going to be the piece that's by your neck. So we have to put this on so that it's facing in the proper direction. Okay, and then we're going to put our wire through our little crimp tube here. We're going to run it through. I'm not trying to put it through that pearl because we already discovered that that's not a thing. So let's just run this through our crimp tube if I can get it to go. Okay. Fiddly. Let's pull this back just a little bit so we have enough wire to go through there, and then we can pull it back down. Okay. So you might need pliers to do this, just depends. I'm going to go ahead and smash that part down. So now we have our crimp tube down here at the bottom of our wire guardian, and then we can go in with our magical crimper. Now I am going to put a little piece of wire in here again like we were doing before, just so we can have enough circumference to fill that up. So I'm going to get another little piece of my wire here, just a little piece. All right. Make sure there's no space in my beads anywhere. But we also have to leave room, you guys, so that we can do our crimp. Put my little piece of wire in here. I'll just put it from right here. And it's okay if this one's a little bit stiff, because it's supposed to stand up. Alright. So we'll get our magical crimper. And we're going to crimp. Okay, very good. And then we're going to turn it over on its side 90 degrees, and we're going to crimp and take it around until we have our little crimp bead. Alright, so let me go ahead and get rid of this wire. This was our wire that we put on for circumference. And I did not get that close enough at all. We don't want that sticking out because that will irritate our neck. All right, now we can go ahead and crimp this one as well. And we have our first piece on. So now we need to do the same thing with the second one. We're going to put on our crimp tube. goodness, I think we are. Okay, there we go. And our wire guardian. Put it right up through. Bring it down. And then we will attach it to our clasp. Put that right down in there, like so. And this is where it's fiddly a little bit, you guys, because we have to make sure that we have all this stuff where it needs to be. Excuse me. All right. Now. All right. So now we need to go back down through our crimp tube here. And guys, I put my little bead cap on there, just like I did on the other side. Put that down through. I'm going to go ahead and grab it with my pliers. Just makes things a little bit easier. Alright, get right where you're supposed to be. Make sure that it's going the right direction. Pull it down. Okay, and then we're going to smash that down together. Okay, and we'll put our little piece of wire in here. And now we can go ahead and make our magical, whoops, that fell out. We'll put our magical crimp in there. I mean our wire. And we can grab it with our crimper. This is why it's fiddly, because now it's already on the thing there. Okay. So crimp. Now we can go to the other side. And just go around until we have our little bead. Alright, and then we can get rid of our extra wire, because I don't want that sticking my neck. And I'm sure you don't want it sticking yours. Alright, and we have one left to go. Woo! So there we go. We will get our crimp tube. And our wire guardian. Take our wire down through. Now we'll go ahead and place it on our connector. And we'll put it through our crimp tube, and then we can get it straightened out. Okay. Now. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas, people. Okay, smash that down. Let me get it good and tight. There we go. There's our little piece of wire. And I'm sure, guys, there's more than one way to do this. But this is how I'm doing it. It looks a little difficult, but it's not that bad. It's just a little fiddly, that's all. Alright, so now let's see if we can make a little space so we can get our pliers in here. We're going to try to get that right in the middle. Pull down and crimp. Okay, so now we need to turn the other direction and get that 90 degrees right back in the middle. Crimp, and then go around till we've made our bead. Okay, so now we've got everything attached. Let's cut off these extras. And this extra. So this is what we've got. Here is our choker. So now all we need to do is put our clasp on. This is going to be so pretty, y'all. This is so daggone fancy. So fancy. If you're going someplace fancy, this would be the perfect thing. So we're just going to put a jump ring on here, and then we're going to put our clasp. And you guys, I did not decide what clasp I was going to use yet. Let me see what I want to use. Let's see. So here are my clasps. There's a plethora. Let me move this out the way for a second so we can see what we've got here. What to use. We need to find something silver and something pretty, but it has to be kind of strong too, but not too loose. So I think I might go with this, because this is one of those strong metallic clasps, and I think this would work perfectly for that, and it will give us just enough space for it to fit properly once we add our jump ring. So let's try that. We're gonna try it and see if it works. If not, it's not the end of the world, guys. We can change it, you know? All right, so I need a jump ring. I need a couple jump rings. Doody-doo. Here we go. Jump ring. So I'm going to use some small jump rings. So these are probably 4mm jump rings. Alright, so let's put on our clasp, and I will check it for fit. Okay, so we'll open our jump ring. Put one in on our clasp. And put that end right through here. Well, really, Laney? That's the only thing about these metallic things. They stick to everything, y'all. Okay. And we will close that up. Okay, so this is the way that one needs to sit. So we'll put our jump ring on and bring around our other side. Okay, flip over. There's my jump ring still stuck in there. Okay, and this is the correct way. Whoop. Alright, let me check this. Uh-oh, let's see. I think I got it on there sideways. Let's try that again. Because I will never be able to get this thing clasped with it going like that direction. Okay. Well, that is the right way. Well, that one's right. Okay, this one is a little bit wonky. Let's fix this one. There's our opening. Okay. So, like this. There we go. All right. So now we should be good to go. All right, let's see how this fits. This is so pretty, y'all. Look at that. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. All right, let's see if I can get it open, get it on. I will put it on a bust to show you guys. Oh, and it is perfect. It fits my neck perfectly. So now, I'm going to show you how to make these earrings, y'all. Now, these earrings are also a little bit fiddly, but this is a nice strong clasp for this. It's going nowhere. Because it's got those little tabs on the inside that kind of hook together. So if you pull it, it won't come apart. So that's what we got. Alright, that's our necklace. So pretty. I love it. Do you guys love it? Alright. Alright, you guys. So here is our earring that we're going to make. And what I did was I just took a couple of the bars like we had in our necklace. I've got pearl, crystal pearl. I also have some silver balls. Got 3 of those. Alright, and then I've got these teeny tiny 4mm bead caps. I've got ear wire. I've got a jump ring. And I've got my pieces of chain. 3 pieces of chain. It's just 4 little teeny tiny links. And our bead caps. Alright. So, this is how we're going to make this. I made my own head pins. And I made my own dangles. So, let's go ahead and make our dangles. It is simply a little bead on my head pin. And we are going to make a teeny tiny wrap loop, you guys. Alright. So I'm just going to use my pliers, my loop making pliers, and I'm going to put it at the tiniest little spot that I can here on the bottom, and I'm just going to flip it over, turn my plier, bring it back around, whoops, Okay, and then I'll catch it, and then we'll have our loop that we can wrap. And that got wonky. Hold on, we're gonna fix this. I'm gonna fix it. So if you get a crazy loop, we can just straighten it back out, start over, so to speak. There we go. Just like brand new almost. It still got a little kink in it, but it'll be okay. Alright. Because what happened was it slipped out of where I initially had it. So there we go. Flip it over. Bring it back around. We're going to rotate our pliers and bring that right back around there. Like so. Now we've got our room to wrap. And actually, I'm going to hold with my flat nose pliers, and then I'll go ahead and turn it with these. Get that straightened out right there. Alright, and then it's usually about 3 wraps, you guys. Okay, and we're going to cut that off, and then we'll make sure we don't have any sticky outy bits. We'll just burnish that down like so. And it looks like we're good there on that. Okay. We're going to do the same thing again. We will hold it with our pliers. I told you guys I'm not real good at wrapping this stuff with my big sausage fingers. So I hold on to it with pliers. One more. And we'll bring that around and we'll cut it off. We'll try to flush it, try to get as close as we can. And burnish that down a little bit right there. Alright, there's number 2. And one more. I saved us some time by making one first, y'all. But I want y'all to see how to make these. Because you all know Laney loves a dangle. Yes, yes, yes. And you could make these actually at different lengths if you wanted to. You could make the middle one like a little longer and have the outside ones hang a little shorter. But I was just trying to make mine all the same. And if you get down low on your wrap like that, you can bring it back up so you have the proper amount of room. And there's 3. Cut that off. And we'll get our little sticky outy bit. Okay, so we got our dangles already. Now, for our main part of our earring, we're going to use these little 3 pieces of wire. They're a little bit over 2 inches. You don't need very much. But we're going to use our 1-step looper to make those. So we'll go ahead and make all 3. For our 1-step looper on your initial cut, you don't have to put it all the way through the back like that. You can just put it right here till it reaches that lip, so you're not wasting as much. Okay, we'll try to get that centered. And you can see we've got our little loop. Okay, we're going to do this 3 times. And this is 20 gauge wire, you guys. Okay, so now we've got our little loops. They look good. So now we're going to put on our little bead caps. Oops, maybe. You know what I didn't do, y'all? I didn't flush cut. That's why that's happening. So flush, flush, and it's just a little teeniest, tiniest piece. Flush. So we can get our beads on there like we're supposed to. And all the things. Because sometimes when it is not cut flush, it makes it hard for things to go on that wire. Okay. Let's smash that down. Make sure they're all closed. And that one was not good and closed. That's why we have to check, you guys. Alright. Now we can put our things on. So I want y'all to let me know in the comments, is this too fiddly for you to make? Because Laney sure was playing and she was like, ooh, 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 that'd be cute. Ooh. Alright, get on there now. There we go. Alright, we got our 3 bead caps. And we got 2. Here we go. Here's number 3. Alright, so we've got our bead caps. So now we can put on our pearls. Pearl. And we gotta have to do this together because we have that bar we're gonna use, remember? Alright, our bar. Alright. I had my helper hand me two more of these. Okay. So there we go. We're putting on our bar. And now we're going to put on our crystals. And guys, you can make these as big or as little as you would like. I just, I like that odd number of 3 rows. So we need to get this one going the right way. 1, 2, 3. Alright, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Alright, and then we put on our last row of pearls. And as you guys know, Laney never counts it out right for Pete's knuckles. But at the end of the day, we get it done, don't we? Yes! Alright. So we got that. We got that. And that. Alright. So now we're going to put our bead caps on top of that. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. And that just kind of covers up the hole because the hole is kind of big on these. Alright, and then we're going to put our silver ball. 1, 2, 2, and 3. So now this is the fun part. So what we're going to do to keep our stuff from falling off now, the ones that we're not working with, we're just going to put a little, whoops, see what's happening? See what's happening? Let's get this back on here. And then I'm going to cap it off with a little earring back so that they don't fall off while I'm working with each piece to make my loops. Okay. Now, I got an earring back. I'm just going to stick that on there like so. And I'll stick this one on there like so. Maybe. Here we go. So now I can work with this piece and get my loops done, and these won't fall off. Hallelujah. Okay. So I'm going to get that as close as I can. I'm going to run that wire back through the back of my looper. I'm going to get, whoops, as close as I can. And we will make our loop. Okay. And now we can take off and do our next one. And this will get a little bit fiddly because we are now in the middle. Get everything all pushed up like we need to, because we don't want this to be too loose or anything. Okay, make our loop. And we will go back and make sure those are all closed up, but we're going to attach chain to them, so it should be okay. Alright, we'll take off our little stopper here. And let's do it this way, it might be a little easier. So that it's not getting in the way of the other things. Okay, so this is what we've got. Okay, we can straighten everything up so that it hangs just like the other one, but we're going to go ahead and put our chain on. As I said, I got 4 links of chain. This stuff is tiny, it's a little curb chain, but it's stainless steel. Guys, I had to use my memory wire cutters to cut this. Do not try to cut this stainless steel wire with your regular pliers, or they will end up ruined. Ruined, I say. Okay, so we're going to open each one of these up and put our little piece of wire on there. And this is tiny work, people. So if you need your glasses, go ahead and put them on, because I sure need mine. Okay, there's that one. And we will open up this one. Just one little flip up. Find our wire. Get our chain on there. There we go. And turn that right back down. Make sure it's good and closed. We'll do that. Okay. And we'll open up our last one here. And we'll stick our chain on. There we go. Okay, so we've got our chain. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our jump ring and we're going to put it through our holes in our wire And that's going to be what holds it on our ear wire. We're going to put it through our chain, you guys, our chain. Alright, let's get that open. We'll open it up nice and big so we have enough room to work. And this is fun. Alright, so we got our first piece. And then we'll find our second piece. I'll try to keep it straight. If I could get it in there, it'd be awesome. Okay, there's that one, and we'll get our last one. Fiddly. Please go on the chain. Alright, y'all. This is going to work. As you can see, I already did it once. Alright. I don't like the way that went. I'm going to try to keep this straight if I can. It keeps moving. Okay, there we go. Alright. So now we can close this up. Okay. And this is what we've got. So now we can put on our dangles. Just going to go to the bottom. And we're going to open each one of these up and put on our little dangles. There goes one. And we'll close that back down. Make sure your bead cap's not in the way. Alright, we can open this one. And we can put this one on. Close that back down. Make sure it's closed because that wire is very thin and it could potentially fall off. We don't want our stuff falling off, y'all. Alright, so now let's open this one and we will put on our last angle. You guys, these are so fancy. So fancy. I don't know where I'll ever wear it, but I think I'll just hang it somewhere so I can look at it until it is time. Okay, so let's get our jump ring back up here so we can then put it on our ear wire. Just make sure it's straight. That looks tangled up. That piece came over there, it wasn't supposed to. Okay, one on that side, one on that side, one in the middle. My jump ring got turned around, y'all. There we go. Nope, that's not right either. This. There we go, like that. And I'm not taking my hands off of it, y'all. I'm just gonna open up my ear wire. And we want to put it so that our bar with our rhinestones is on the front. Okay, so I'll close this up. Make sure that's good and closed. And guys, there's our earring. What do you think? So here is our fancy smancy set with our choker and our earrings. What do you guys think? Do you love it? I hope so. I tell you, this is a fancy smancy situation we got going on right here, y'all. For a fancy occasion. Here we go. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Yes or yes. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you think of this piece. This is our first random piece from Laney's stash. Okay? All right. I'm going to get my things ready for our next one, and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back with our next project. Now, this project is going to be a necklace and a bracelet. Excuse me, a necklace and a pair of earrings. Okay, and I've got my favorite, some elephants. So I'm going to try to show you kind of how I wanted to lay this out, and we're going to talk about our focal. So our focal came from my last Beadbox Bargains haul, this pretty one right here. She's so pretty, and I'm going to wire wrap her at the top and make her give it a bail, so that we have a way to hang it. And that's going to be our focal that's going to go right here. I also used some of these fire polish beads. These came out of the $1 bead box. They are now part of Laney's stash. Okay, so these are just some kind of copper colored fire polish 4mm beads. Then also, you guys, I had some of these. These were in my stash. These are just like a 4mm or so round bead. It's got some little brown inclusions in it, real pretty. I think it makes a nice offset to our fire polish. And these came in a bargain bead box. They are already made, so I'm going to use these to make some charms for our necklace. It's already made. However, I'm going to be making some dangles to go with it. Okay, so that right there. And you guys, I have these little precious elephants. These are acrylic, but they are so cute. Their hole goes from top to bottom. Makes a very nice little dangle. So I have some components here, just a couple little gold ball spacers that I'm going to use to make those. And as you can see, I already have one made. Okay, that's what it's going to look like. How cute is that? All right, so we'll put that back over here. I have this all laid out so I can remember how to put it together for you guys. All right, and then I'm also using these leaves and these little 3mm little red beads. They're just little red beads. Our leaf, this came in a bargain bead box, and then I'm also using one of these for our dangle, the already made ones. And we are going to do a little circle at the end, just a little spiral at the end to finish out our thing, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Okay, so this is what we've got laid out, so we can start making our components. So first things first, I want to make our pendant, we are going to put a wrap around the top and make a bail for this. So to do this, I am going to use actually some 22 gauge wire. Okay, 22 gauge wire. And we need a good little bit because we're going to be wrapping around several times. The goal is to cover the hole, but also make a decorative spiral around the top of this, and we will have our way to hang it. Okay, I didn't want to use just a plain old bail on this. I wanted to embellish it a little bit. All right, so we're going to get our 22 gauge wire. We're going to get right much. I don't know exactly how much we'll need, but we're going to get enough to give us some good wraps. So we'll kind of see as we go. Let's see, I need my nippers. Okay, so first things first, the first thing we want to do is we're going to put our pendant on our wire, like so. We're going to give ourselves enough room because we need to make a few wraps before we go down. So we're just going to take this right up to the top, just like this. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to make this as tight as possible that we can. And then we're going to just do a few wraps around, which will get us started. So I'm going to kind of bring that down over. Bring this one out a little bit so that it's straight. And now we can make our wrap. So we're just going to do a couple of wraps here just to attach. And I say 3 should be fine. And we can now snip this off. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a loop. Okay. Now my loop, this is going to need to hang on my wire. So for our loop, it needs to go exactly in this direction. So I'm just going to flip this over, and it's going to be like a wrapped loop. And we will make our bail. It doesn't need to be real big because it's just going to be on the wire. So we're just making a loop like normal. And then we're going to hold it and we're going to wrap it around. Okay. Now I have to switch hands because I'm not good doing that with my left hand. So we're just going to wrap. We're just going to wrap this around. Okay. And we're going to go over the wraps that we made prior. So this is going to be very organic. And we're going to get down to where our wire comes to. And we can cinch this up a little bit also as we're going. But once we get right here, then this is where we need to handle it. Okay? So, we're here. I'm going to keep turning because I want this wire to go down over my stone. You want to try to keep this pretty neat. And for every wrap, you're just going to go down a little. Keep going. And as I said, our goal, now it looks a little bit wonky right now, but our goal is to cover up our hole where our wire went through. So we're just going to wrap, wrap, wrap until we've got that hole covered up. Okay. All right, I think I've got enough. I think I got all I want. So now, this is what we've got. Our pendant is wrapped. And I may do one more. Let's do one more. Okay, so now to finish this off, we're going to bring it to the back. We're going to get kind of to the middle. And then we're going to flip it up, because we're going to have to go back here and wrap a little bit more so that this makes all one piece. Alright, so I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to find right about the middle here. Okay, we're going to grab it and we're just going to turn it up like that. Okay, see what I've done? I just turned it straight up. Okay, so from here we can start wrapping again so that this won't come off. So I'm going to start right here and we're just going to wrap right back up to our loop. Okay, now we can smash this down a little bit if it's sticking up too much for you. Okay, and like I said, guys, this one's going to be organic looking, but we can smash in and do what we need places to make it look right. Alright, we're going to go ahead and cut this off, and we are going to get as close as we can, and then we're going to tamp it down so that we don't have any sticky outy bits. Okay, so I'm just going to smash that down. And there we go. So we've got our pendant, and it's going to hang right like that. Okay, now we will need some stringing material. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to use a 49 strand, I believe, and we are going to use our Soft Flex medium in this bone color. So we will take some of this off. Now this necklace is going to be about 18 inches or so. So I'm going to get enough of this so we have enough on both sides, and if we need to, we can put a little chain on it as well. So I'm going to snip that. I'll tell you exactly how much I have here in 1 second. Oops. Okay. So we have our first component made. We've got our string and wire ready. Let me show you how I made the little dangles with my elephants. So I have got some head pins, just plain head pins. And first things first, for our little elephant, we're going to do our little gold ball. Now guys, I ran out of the dark color gold head pins. I didn't have any left. So this is a rose gold, but you're not going to see that big of a difference. So we can put our elephant on and our other little ball. And we're just going to make a simple loop. Simple loop. So we're going to get as close as we can. And we're going to bend this over. You could also make this with your one-step looper if you wanted to. I'll show you both ways. Alright, so let me cut this. Okay. Got it cut. And now we can take our little loop making pliers and we're just going to make our loop. and turn it. And that is wonky, but we can fix it. Just straighten that right on out. Make sure it's closed. And we're going to make sure that it's centered. Okay, and there's our little elephant. And we're just going to attach it here to our little component that was already made for us. That's so convenient. Okay, we're just going to do that small movement and turn it up. Put our little elephant on. And close that back down. Okay. And I also don't mind using this rose gold because it kind of ties in with our fire polish too. Okay, so there's our other little elephant. Now our other component is our leaf with our little red balls, with our little red beads. So again, I am going to just take a piece of 20 gauge wire this time. And we're going to make a spiral just like that one. Let's hope that Laney can do this the same way twice. I suggest that if you're making something like this, to make them at the same time, so that you can get them the same. Okay, so we're just going to start with our little teeniest, tiniest circle. Okay. So this is going to be the middle, okay, and then we're just going to hold it over here, and we are going to, you need to hold it pretty tight because it'll move around on you. Hold it right here, and we're just going to move this wire up like so, and that's going to start our spiral. We're just going to keep doing that and going around. Staying on the outside. Small movements. Take your time with this. Okay, hold it. Bring it around. And you're going to do this until you get to the size of spiral that you want. So let me check my size here to my other one. So this one's a little bit bigger still, so we need to go a little bit more. And we're just going to hold it and go around. Hold it and go around. All right, let's see where we are now. Okay, that looks about the same. So from here, actually I'm going to go just a little bit farther. So that our inside is kind of at the top here. Okay, so now we're just going to take this and we're just going to bend it just a little bit so we can center it up like so. Okay, so there's our spiral. All right, so now we can take our little red bead and look at that not fitting. Let's see. Maybe I did this in 22 gauge wire, y'all. Because I did test this before. Now see, that one fits. Alright. And then I just have a little daisy spacer, a little 4mm daisy spacer for the bottom. I'm not putting one on the top. Okay, let's put our leaf on there. Isn't that pretty? Yeah. Okay, and then we'll see if we can get, let me flush cut this and see if I can get this other one to be on there. This one is not wanting to fit. Oh, there it goes. Now, for this one, we're just going to do a simple loop again, and this time we will do it with our one-step looper. One-step looper. And we will put our loop right at the top. Okay, center that out. And we've got our loop. So whenever you're making things that take a lot of loops, one-step looper is very helpful. Okay, so we've got our other little dangle here, which we will attach to our little component. Open that up, put on our dangle, and we'll just close that back down. Okay, make sure it's closed. And there is our other component. So here's how I kind of laid it out. So I wanted the fire polish to be next to my gold, just kind of to offset, and then we went white and fire polish, white, fire polish around our dangles, and we just kept with that going all the way through. Okay, up here I've got this is a spacer bead, looks like a temple or something. Look at that, looks like a temple. Okay, so that's going to go at the end of our necklace. You'll be able to see that hopefully from the back. All right, so now we do have our wire, our bone colored wire. And first things first, I am going to string on our focal. All right, so here's our focal. And this is what it looks like. Okay, and then we're going to do our fire polish. I'm going to go ahead and string this side, and then we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to string this side. We'll come back and put it all together and make our earrings. Okay, give me just 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right, you guys, we got her all strung up. Look how cute those are dangling on there. So cute, so cute. All right, so what we have to do now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 of these little rondelle spacers. Came there in my stash, just teeny tiny little rondelle spacers, but they're flat. So we'll go ahead and add those to our end just to finish it off. Okay, and then we can put on the thing that's going to be our connector. So let me go ahead and bead bug this baby because I do not want these beads going flying. Yes. All right, so we got that side done. So now, we are going to need some crimp tubes. Just 2. And of course 18 came out. All right, so we're going to put on our clamshell connector, and we're going to put on one of our crimp tubes. We're just going to smash that down at the top so that our clamshell connector has something to grab onto. Leave just a little bit of wire up there. Okay, pull up our tube here. Our connector. Words are hard. Okay, and we're just going to make sure that that's all together nicely. Okay, now we can pull our things down to the other end and we can do our other side. Okay, now I got way too much wire, as you can see, but it's okay because when we snip it, we'll still have enough to use maybe for a different project, maybe even a bracelet project or something of that nature. So we'll put on our crimp tube, and we'll open this up a little bit, and we are going to let gravity do its job so that we don't have this be real stiff, because this is our 49 strand wire. It's pretty flexible. So I'm just going to get in here with my pliers and smash that down. Smash. And our things are still moving and they have space. Alright, so we've got that clamped off there. So now we can just cut. We'll leave just a little bit of wire up there. And then we can close it up. So right now, let's see what length we're at right here. So we have about 7 inches. So we're gonna need to put a little chain on here. And guys, I decided to use this paper clip chain. It's in the gold color. It's very strong though. It's like stainless steel underneath here. I do believe that I got this at Bargain Bead Box as well. Part of Laney's stash building is Bargain Bead Box, y'all. Go get yours. So let's see how much chain I've got here. We have got about 13.5 inches of chain. So if we split that, it'll give us length to have our bracelet, our necklace hang right below the collarbone, I guess. So we have to find where we need to snip it. So we're just going to put it on our little piece of wire right here, and we're going to find this one piece that's lonely. Okay, here's our lonely one piece hanging down here. Well, okay, let's try that again. We're going to take our chain and hang it on here, and we're going to find our one piece that's hanging down here, and that's where we're going to cut. And guys, do not use your regular pliers on this stainless steel chain, because my goodness. So I'm using my memory wire cutters for this. They come in handy for lots of different things. Alright, so I got that cut. We'll take that off, and we'll have us our 2 pieces of chain that we can now attach to our necklace. Alright, and you can use as much chain or as little as you want. You can make this as long or as short as you want. So here we will put our jump ring right in our holes here, and we'll go ahead and put our chain on. And we'll put some on the other side. These jump rings are a little bit bigger than I like for this, but this is what I've got right now, so this is what we're going to use. And we will put our piece of chain here. And for our clasp, I have decided to do a toggle clasp on this. Okay. So let me see what my length is looking like. So this looks good. It's going to hang right below the collarbone. It's not a choker. It's going to be a true necklace, but that's how it's going to hang. Alright, so now we've got our toggle clasp. This came in the bargain bee box. This is going to be our clasp, a little pretty toggle. Looks like it's got a rose type situation. Okay, there they are. That's what we're going to use to put this together. Okay, so now when this is hanging, this is going to be our right side, so I always put my big part over here, and these are double-sided, so it doesn't matter which way you put it on. Okay, got that. And this is so relaxing. We're just chilling, making jewelry together, you know. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And we will put on our other side. Like so. We'll get that closed all up. And you guys, here is our little necklace. So cute. Here's our toggle, here's our chain, and here is our beautiful, beautiful little charm necklace. Yes. So when it's on the chest, it'll be out like this, and all of your dangles will be hanging right there. I just love it. I think it's so cute. I've not seen anything like it. So you guys let me know what you think. You can put your comments in the chat. You know, I always look at your comments and I always respond because I like to know if you guys like what I'm doing. So there's that one. So now we can make our earrings. So we'll put this over to the side right here. We're gonna make our little cute earrings, and they are going to have our elephants. They are going to have our dangles. It's going to have a fire polish, and we're going to need 2 of our little gold balls like we had, and 2 head pins. Okay, and we have our ear wires. Okay, this is just going to be simply putting it together. All right, so first things first, we're going to put our little gold ball on. We're going to put on our elephant, and then our gold ball, and a fire polish. Now this is going to be our dangle, you guys, because we are using this as our main component for hanging. Okay, so here's our little elephant with the little fire polish. I'm going to use my 1-step looper. We'll just put that right in there. Get as close as we can. And then we're going to make our loop. Okay. There we go. Got our loop. And we're going to make one more. So our little gold ball. Our elephant. He's so cute. They are so cute. One more gold ball. And our fire polish. We'll use our 1-step looper again to make our loop. Okay. Now we can take our components that are already made for us, and we're just going to open it up. Well, there we go. All right, we're going to hang our little elephant on there. And then we're going to hang this on our ear wire. Super cute, super simple. And here's our little earring, you guys. Cute. Yeah? You like her? Cute. All right, let me get our other one put together. So we'll just open it up here, put on our dangle. And we will put it on our ear wire. And you can use whatever kind of ear wire you fancy. I really like these because they're easy to put on and take off. But sometimes I use the post earrings. And Laney can't even see where this one opens. I think here. Yep. Okay. Excuse me. And we will just close it right back down. Alright, you guys. Here's our little earrings with our little necklace project. Something different, you know. So there's our necklace and our little earrings. Aw, look how cute. I hope you guys love it. I had fun making this. Had fun coming up with this concept. But we've got, you know, a little bit of color. But then in the background, it's kind of muted with our cream colors and our gold. But we've got this pop of color with our fire polish. I think it's just so cute. And I think these little elephants and everything go really cute with our little pendant here. And the reason that I chose that color fire polish was because of this little baby right here. That is so pretty to me. And I think that fire polish goes just beautifully with it. All right. Well, guys, project number 2 is complete, and we have one more project that we're going to do in this video, and this one is going to be a bracelet. Okay, so stay tuned. Let me get my other things out here, and I'll be right back. All right, you guys, as you can see, I have laid out our final project for today, and we are going Buddha. So I got these little Buddhas, these little Buddha heads. I've had these for a while now. And to be perfectly honest, you guys, I'm not sure where I got these, but they have become part of Laney's stash. Okay, part of the stash. So what I'm doing is I am going to make us little dangles that will go between our beads. Focus. Little dangles that go between our beads. They are so cute. To make those, I have got some bead caps. These larger ones, like this. They came in the pack in Amazon, which I will put the link for those in the description. I have got some clamshell connectors. I've got my clasp. I've got some little 8/0 seed beads in the gold color. 8/0 seed beads. And then, of course, I have my crimp tubes. I got a couple jump rings. I have some smaller bead caps that came in that pack also. They match these. See, these are bigger. These are teeny tinies. 3mm, 4mm ones. Okay. So those I got in the pack from Amazon. I've got some little blue crystals. These came from Dollar Bead Box. And these little crystals here, which are going to go on the top of the head of my Buddha, these are little rondelles with some little rhinestones in it. These came from Hobby Lobby, you guys. It comes in a strand with 2 or 3 different sizes on it. So also to make our dangle, I've just got a couple head pins. Okay, so let's make our dangles, and then we'll put our bracelet together. I also have this piece of bone wire from our last project, and I do believe that it's long enough to sustain this. So here we go. So let's go ahead and make our dangles. I'll show you how to make the dangle. So I'm using my head pin. I am putting on one of my large bead caps because you can see the hole in our Buddha is kind of big, so I want to cover that up. So I'm just going to put him right on there like that, and he blends right in. You can hardly see it. Okay, so at the top we did another bead cap. One of our little rondelles. And guys, I am using a little copper spacer. I think that's a nice color offset to our gold. Just gives it a little bit of color there. And then we are going to just make a simple loop. I'm going to do that with my one-step looper. One-step looper. This one is the 2.5 millimeter one. So we're just going to put our head pin in here. We're going to get as close as possible, and then we're going to make our loop. Loop. Alright, so we have got our loop. If it turns out a little bit wonky or something, you can straighten that up just by breaking its neck a little bit, like so, and then we'll close it the rest of the way, because we're going to put this directly on wire and we do not want it to fall off. So it's just going to be a small movement. Let's see if we can do it like this. Alright, that's got it mostly together, and then just a little press. And there is our little dangle. So to hang our dangle off of, I am using these little I forget what you call them, but they hang on wire, right? And it's got a loop on the bottom. It's kind of like a bail, I guess you could say. It's a bail. Okay, so we're putting them on a bail. So let's go ahead and do that. And it's just going to hang right there on the end. We'll take that right back down. Alright, so there's our other dangle. We need to make one more because we're going to have 3. So I've got my bead cap. Put our Buddha on there. One more bead cap. Ooh, that looks like 2. There is 2, you guys, but they're stuck together. Oh my goodness. Well now, that's a mess. I don't even know how to get them apart. Oh, that did it. Okay, they were just stuck together. Alright, so that one will go on the top. Let me get that one out of the way. Then we're going to put our little rondelle. And then we are going to put our little copper ball. I love that contrast of color on top of there. Isn't that cute? Alright, one-step looper to the rescue. We're going to put this in here. We're going to get it as close as we can. We're going to make our loop. Get it centered. Okay. So because I pulled it, it didn't close all the way. But you know that's easily fixed, guys. And I will just close it. Small movement. And it's looking a little wonky to me, so I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. Get it centered. There we go. And then we can go ahead and put it on our hanger. Like so. So that's what we've got. So we've got our 3 dangles, and then we've got our beads. So the beads that I'm using, these were in a bargain bead box. These are the English cut blue beads that we got. These came from Hobby Lobby in the little haul that I did, and I love that blue and that green together. Don't they just offset nicely? I think so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bead bug one end of my wire here, and we're going to put our beads on. Excuse me. We're going to use these little ones to go around our beads. They're little, so they will not impede on the shape of these on these English cut beads, because they are sometimes kind of funny shape at the end, but they'll just sit right on there just to be awesome. Yep, there it goes, right there on top. So we're going to do one of those on each side. And guys, I may not have gotten out enough, we'll see, because I also want to put one on the end of our green, and they're going to sit back to back like that. So that's what we're looking at, like that. We'll go ahead and put another one. And then one more back to back with our blue. So that's what we're looking like so far. Isn't that pretty? Okay, bead cap. And I am going to need to get out some more. And guys, this package had a lot of these little bead caps in it. Let's see here. So here they are. They come in different sizes. We have these bigger ones that are even bigger, like for 10mm and up beads. And then these are the ones that I used on my Buddha. And here's our tiny ones. I've used quite a bit of those, guys. I might have to get some more. I'll just put those out there and use what I need. Alright, so I'm going to put our cap. And then we're going to go with another of our green beads. Bead cap on that. One more bead cap. And then we're going to do our blue bead. Can't even get that in there. Let me flush cut this because this is just as finicky as a piece of wire if it's not flush cut. Okay, let's try now. See? Okay, so now we're going to do a blue bead, a bead cap, and then we're going to put our dangle. Now, excuse me, for our dangle, I don't want this directly on the wire. I kind of want something in the middle of it. So I'm just going to use a couple of these little small ones that I got out of a dollar bead box. So we have two. We're going to put two. 1, 2. And what happens here is our hanger will sit on here. If I can find the hole, it'll be awesome. These are so tiny, y'all. It's hard to see the hole. Lordy be. Let's see. Let's see if I can put it down and find it. There it is. Okay. So, we've got this. This is going to lay right on there. And it's going to have just a little bit coming out of the side. And actually, I think we only need one, you guys. One will do it. Okay. So that just gives that something kind of to hang on to. Focus camera. There we go. So see, that little bead just sits right down in there and will hold that hanger. Alright. So now we're going to go back in with another one of our bead caps. And another of our crystal these English cut. Lord, words are hard today, y'all. And it will sit just like that. Cute, right? That'd make a pretty necklace too, come to think of it. Alright. So now we're going to put another bead cap. Another of our green. And a bead cap. So we're going to put another one back to back with our blue. Bead cap it. Alright, and so now we need to put our other dangle. We need to put on our little bead to hold. Put that right over top. We're going to do another bead cap. And another blue. Then we're going to go for a green. Excuse me, green. Another little bead cap. Our little spacer to hold our bell. Then we are going to do another bead cap. A blue, bead cap, and I believe oh, I see what I did wrong. Okay. I'm going to do a blue here. Put our bead cap. A blue. bead cap. Now this little blue. Our dangle. And bead cap. And blue. Bead cap. And I think that I had extra, hold on, because I need one more green over here, and we'll end it out with the blue. Okay, so let's do our bead cap, our green, bead cap, and then we'll do our blue. One more blue. Okay. So that's what we've got. So pretty. Oh my goodness. Okay. So let us see. Let me put my other bead cap on here. So let us see where we are on length. Here is our love beyond measure. Yes. Okay. So right now we are at about 6 inches, which is about right for my wrist. So I'm going to end it out with one of these little blues, and then we will put it together. Cute. Flesh cut, Laney flesh cut. Goodness gracious, these things are tiny. There we go. Okay, so this is our little bracelet. Let me bead bug one in, and we can put her together. Okay. So I need my clamshell. And our crimp tube. Put that right up there, very close. Tamp it down, and we have got our clamshell. Close that up. Bring down our beads. Excuse me, you guys. Sorry. All right, so we'll put on our clamshell. And then we can put on our crimp tube. Okay, we're gonna let it hang. And we'll crimp. Just smash it. Then we will cut this off. Might be able to use that for something. And then we can bring up our clamshell. And that didn't quite fold over correctly, but excuse me, it's not going to really hurt anything. All right, so now we have a couple of jump rings. We've got our lobster claw connector, so we can wear this pretty thing when it's finished. So I'm going to use a small little jump ring. And we will put on our clasp, making sure we're going through both holes, because see, it was off a little bit. Let's see if we can fix it. Let's open it back up a little bit. Alright. Now we can put on our clasp. Close that up. And then we will put our connector jump ring on the other side, so we have something to hook our lobster clasp to. This one's a little bit bigger. This is like a 6mm. And there's our bracelet, you guys. Is she pretty? Look at her. That green and that blue is just popping together, aren't they? We've got our little dangles. Let me see if I can get this on, guys. Come on now. Alright, you guys, I got her on. And there she is. We got our little Buddhas just hanging. There's one over here and one in the middle and one over here. It's just so cute. I love it. Do you guys like it? I hope so. Let me know in the comments what you think about our little Buddha bracelet. Okay, so we're going to make some earrings to go with it, because why wouldn't we? Okay, so here's our earring. We're going with the green. And our little Buddha. Simple. Okay, so I have some post ear wires. Okay, so here's our beads. And we have our little bead caps. And I'm also going to be using a couple of these little gold seed beads on our earring. So I do need 2 eye pins. Alright, I made my own head pin. This is 20 gauge wire. So I have my little bead cap. I'm going to put that on there. Nope. First I'm putting on my little seed bead. Then my bead cap. Then my little teeny tiny Buddhas. Look at them. Look at little teeny tiny Buddha. What a mess. Okay. So we'll put that on there. And because that hole is a little bit big, our bead cap will cover our hole and it blends right in. See that? Blends right in. Alright. So we'll put our other bead cap on. And our seed bead. And we're going to use our one-step looper again to make our loop. Okay, got our loop. And let's get that all straightened out because that's looking a little bit cockeyed. Make Make sure it's all shut. Tiny movement. Okay. Now, we're going to make one more head pin because... Oh, that's my 22. I need my 20. We're going to make one more because we have to have one for this. So it's just a little piece of wire, 20 gauge. Just a couple inches. Okay, so we can use our one-step looper to make our end. And I'm going to straighten this out a little bit. Alright, we'll go ahead and break that neck because it's looking like a P. Now, there we go. Our head pin is centered. So we just need a couple more little seed beads. So we'll start there. Nope, I didn't use seed beads on this one. I did not. I have these little gold balls. These ones. These are teeny tiny. These are like 2 millimeter. If you can imagine, 2 millimeters. Okay. So we will put our little bead on there. We will put our greenstone, fat at the bottom, skinny at the top, and then we'll put our other little bead on here, and we will make our loop, which will hang on our post. Okay, now that looks good. So now we can just attach, and I want both of these going the same direction, I do believe. So we'll just make sure that they're both going the same direction. And it looks wonky when you have a bead on here because the bead will turn, so you can't really tell. Alright, we'll open this up. We'll hang our little Buddha dangle on here. And Laney did it backwards because we need a head pin for our Buddha. Yep. Not a double hangy. We'll use these. These are the ones that are super duper long. It's like 3 inches. And if I'm not mistaken, you can get those at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Okay. Let's do this one more time. Alright. So we're going to start with our seed bead. We'll put on our little bead cap. It goes all the way down this time, yay. Put our Buddha, our little bead cap, and one more seed bead. Now we can make our loop. Just put that through there, and there's going to be enough of this left over we can use it for something else. Get that cut, bring it around, make sure it's all nice and closed. Small movement. Now open it up. Attach it to our other piece. And close that back down. So here's what we've got. She's cute. And now we're going to put it on our post. So we're going to open this up, but we have to put it on our post so that the post is going to be going towards the front. So we're going to start it this way. Here's our hole. Put the hole right on our loop, like so. Close that down. Okay. And when our earring hangs, it is going to hang like this. And there's our little earring to go with our bracelet with our Buddha. Now guys, I could have put a blue stone on here. That would have been pretty too. But this is what I went for this time. So I hope you guys like it. These ear wires actually came with the backs. So I'm just going to stick that on there. I want to say I got these at Hobby Lobby as well. But here's our little earring. And maybe I'll make another one to match it with the blue instead of the green. But I like those. Those are cute. What do you guys think? Alright, well let me know in the comments if you like our little Buddha set. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Alright, well guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed going through some of Laney's stash. If you guys like this kind of content, I'll do more because I've got a big old stash, y'all. Big old stash. And I'm adding to it all the time. And I think that I have mentioned in my last bargain bead box haul that, you know, sometimes you get that bead paralysis and don't know what to use. Well, Laney is going to go through her stuff and she's going to use a lot of it, right? There's no need in hoarding it and letting it sit here. Let's make some beautiful things with it, you guys. Okay, so I might do some challenges and some different things because I've got something special. Got something special. So guys, I made a little Bliss Beauties beading journal. And in this journal, it has inspirational quotes. It's got some challenges in it, kind of like pick a color and make a whole set of jewelry out of that monochromatic color. It also asks you about your feelings about beads and different things like that. It's a place for you to journal your ideas. But there's also grid paper in there so you can draw things out if you want to. If you're that person that likes to draw out what you're doing, there'll be space for that. Yes, yes, yes. It's really cool. I've got it out on Amazon and I will put a link to it in the description for you guys. And also, since we're spilling information, I have also created some merch for our Bliss Beauties. Now, even if you're not part of the Bliss Beauty circle, it's fine. I've got some mugs and a couple t-shirts and a tote bag, you know, maybe if you guys want to rep Laney's Beads and Bliss, right? You can get you a coffee mug when you're sitting there and we're doing jewelry together. You can have your coffee or your tea, whatever you want, in a cute little mug. Tote bags, and they all have like Laney's flower on them. So this flower, very pretty watercolor flower, and I'll put some pictures up of what the items look like so you guys can see. So I hope you guys enjoyed our little tutorial today. Hope you learned some, like maybe some new techniques or something like that. And as always, find your bliss right here on the bead mat. And until I see you guys in the next video, bye.